Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of Cranky Gun Reviews, and today I'm going to be going over my new Smith & Wesson Model 36-1 with the 3-inch barrel. And this video is kind of about my quest to find the perfect grip for carry and for shooting, for comfort and things like that. I've gotten several different kinds of grips over the years, and I've tried out some that I really don't like and some that I really do like. And I'll talk about the reasons why in those particular different things. So let's get into the video. Hello and welcome to another edition of Cranky Gun Reviews. I'm your host, James, and tonight we're going to talk about something that's near and dear to my heart, J-frame revolvers. So as many of you know from my last couple of videos, I'd been looking for a nice Smith & Wesson 3-inch J-frame since I sold my other one a couple of years ago. And I happened on this one a couple of weeks ago. It's not in great shape. I don't know how well the light's going to pick it up, but there's a bunch of spots on the barrel up here where the bluing is gone. There's a little nick on the front of the barrel right here where my thumbnail is. There's some bluing wear on it. There's bluing wear on the front of the cylinder. There's bluing wear on the back of the cylinder. The back strap, basically all the bluing is gone off the back strap. There's a nice little ding right there on the back strap. And, you know, some bluing wear down here and some on the other side of the barrel. But overall, 100% functional gun, and I like guns that have been carried. This one, you can tell it's been carried a lot, but it hasn't really been shot a lot. The lockup on this thing is insanely tight. I mean, I know they say when you're testing the lockup, pull the trigger and let the hammer part way down. There's a less than a 1/16 of an inch of wiggle back and forth on this thing. It is a very, very tight lockup. And for posterity's sake, it is empty. But very tight lockup on it. I haven't shot it yet. I have cleaned it very well. I took the side plate off and checked it out. Everything appears to be fine. You know, one thing about these older guns, you got to push the hammer back and try to push it forward. If it doesn't drop forward when you push on it, then there's a good chance that nothing inside has ever been touched. I think this has been a heavily carried but lightly shot gun. And there's a lot of wear on the grips. You can see that up here, basically all the checkering is worn down. You can still see the checkering, but it's very smooth. Same thing on the other side. There's a lot of wear on the checkering. So this gun's been carried a lot. Now, you see a bunch of grips on the table. The main reason I have a bunch of different types of grip on this to try out is because I don't particularly like either the look or the feel of the standard round butt grip on a 3-inch revolver. The other one I had was a square butt, and just for reference, here's my Model 36-1 square butt snub nose revolver, and you can see both the width of this grip and the length of it is a little bit longer than the round butt model. So for carry or for concealment, yes, the round butt is the best one you can get. It's the smallest grip frame and it gives you the best concealability because it's nice and smooth and it's short. But for shootability, and I do shoot all my firearms, for shootability, the square grip is a little bit better. Again, this one, empty. It gives you a little bit better purchase on the firearm. The nostril up here where your finger goes in there, there's a little bit more there to grab onto, where this one is a little bit smaller. So when you put your finger up here, there's a lot more room for your finger to wiggle around. So what I really wanted to do was find a grip that not only made this gun look more symmetrical, where a little bit longer grip makes it look more symmetrical with the 3-inch barrel. I also wanted something that was a little bit more comfortable to shoot. Now, originally, I had thought about just getting a set of square butt grips and putting them on the round butt, and they will fit. They will drop on, the pins line up, they will fit perfectly fine, but there will be a gap on the bottom of the grip down here, about 3/8 of an inch long, and there'll be a gap on the back of the grip where the grip comes down beyond the frame of the round butt gun. But the inside of these is exactly the same on both of them. So realistically, you could just put a pair of square butt stocks on a round butt revolver, but if you do that, there'll be some gaps and you could fill them in with body filler or wood putty or even cut a piece of wood and glue it in there, and that would take care of the issue. But I didn't really want to do that work. I wanted to look and see what other options were available. So what I started off with, this is a set of Uncle Mike's boot grips that came off of my 637 revolver. Now, these are not any longer than the round butt grips that come with that revolver, but it has a bigger swell up here in the nostril of the pistol, and it has this bump in there, which gives you something to grab onto. It goes in between your two fingers, and you can hold it a lot better. Now, this particular grip, I actually really like. You can put your pinky on the bottom of it. You get two full fingers wrapped around the front of the grip. It has this cutout here, so you can still use a speed loader pretty well. But let's go ahead and put it on the gun and see what it looks like. All right, so here you have the Uncle Mike's boot grip on the same revolver. You can see it looks a little bit better. What I like about this, the back strap is still completely exposed. Sometimes if you get the ones that cover up the back strap, it makes the grip width a little bit too wide, and we'll get into a couple of those as well. But I like that it leaves the back strap exposed, and this is a great little grip. I really like these on the snub nose J-frames. It's not bad on this. It does fix the problem of having that open nostril where your finger can kind of flop around a little bit. It has finger grooves on here, so it gives you a really good purchase on the gun. It's very comfortable to hold and very comfortable to shoot, but you still have your pinky kind of floating out here in the middle of nowhere, and because it's the same length as the frame, you don't get that extra little bit, which gives you the symmetric look of the gun. So while this one looks much better, to me, it's still not perfect. I could live with this if there weren't better options out there. So let's check out another one. All right, moving on to the next one. This is a Pacmeyer gripper grip. And I think it says gripper on the bottom. Yep, it says Pacmeyer the gripper. This one, it's like a two-piece grip, except the back is actually one seam. So even though it has a seam down here that's molded together, it's actually glued. So when you take the screw out, you just kind of peel this open a little bit and slide it on the frame. Now, as far as how comfortable a grip is, this one has a nice palm swell on it, has great finger grooves on it, has really nice checkering. It's made out of a hard rubber. The bottom of it's a little bit slippery, and it's very comfortable in the hand. It fills up my entire hand, gives me a great grip on the gun. So this, to me, this is a great option for shooting, target shooting, when you want to put a lot of rounds through the gun. I actually had one of these on my Charter Arms Pathfinder Target 22 and my Charter Arms, maybe it was the Undercover. But I know the Target 22 I had one on, maybe the Undercover I had one on for a while. They've been making grips for a really long time. They're high quality. They're inexpensive. I paid 20 bucks for these. And for comparison, the Uncle Mike's boot grip, you can find those on eBay anywhere from $35 to $60 because they haven't made them in a while. This particular one, like I said, I paid 20 bucks for it, used, no box, but it was perfectly brand new. I mean, it's not all scuffed up or anything. It's a great option for target shooting. It is a little bit big for carrying, and it's a little bit too big for the symmetry of the gun because it does stick down beyond the frame a little bit, about this much, about a half an inch. It sticks down below the frame, but it actually comes beyond the back strap about 3/8 of an inch as well. So it makes the frame look wider and it makes the frame look longer. But now if you look at the gun, to me, the symmetry is off. Yes, it's a fantastic grip. I love those when I go out target shooting because you can shoot all day with it. The rubber takes up the brunt of the recoil. But again, I still think there's better options for carry. So let's move on to the next one. Now, moving on to the next one. Back in the day, there were companies that made what were called conversion grips, which basically turned a round butt frame into a square butt. This is one of those style grips. This is made by a company called J. Scott. I happened to find these on eBay. They were like $21. They're wood grips on the outside. They're made out of some type of a laminate wood. And then the bottom section of the frame, which is exactly what you need to make if you convert a round butt to a square butt by just using square J-frame grips. There's kind of like this, I don't know if it's melamite or some type of epoxy that they made a cover to go around the bottom of the gun, and it turns it into a square butt revolver. Now, the symmetry on this is pretty close to what I want because now it pretty much resembles a square butt J-frame. This one doesn't have any checkering on it. It's just nice and smooth. This particular grip, I think, is probably a close second to the grip that I think I like the best. The only reason I don't particularly like this grip is this little area, this bump on the top, instead of coming over the frame like most standard grips would. So this is the standard grip. You can see it extends up beyond the top of the frame, and it actually covers some of the side plate a little bit. These J. Scott grips, they stop at that little line in the frame. So the bump actually goes into the part of the frame that has that little bump in it. But if you look closely, you can see light through there. So these are great. They're conversion grips, so they turn it into a square butt, which is exactly what I was thinking I wanted. But when I got them and I put them on, two things happened. One, the epoxy piece on the bottom cracked because it didn't quite fit on the revolver. When I got it, I had to trim it with a knife. When I got it on and squeezed it together, it cracked. So I had to super glue that back on. The back strap is open like I like, so it gives you a nice purchase on the gun, and it is better. It's thicker, it's longer, so it's just like carrying a square frame Model 36. But two things I don't like: how this fits on the bottom and how it fits on the top here. Although this is a close second, these were made, I don't know, probably in the 60s or 70s, probably in the 70s, I would expect. Nice laminate wood, they look good. So this is a close second choice. But let's move on to my favorite ones that I've found so far. All right, so we're gonna move on to what are my first choice, at least for now. These I found on eBay. It is a Safariland combat grip, internationally famous. Came with this nice box with this like grass colored foam with some crushed velvet on top. The instructions are underneath. Original box. I think I paid $21 or $22 for these things. They were a great price, and this is the grip. Now, it looks similar to the Pacmeyer grip, except it's smaller dimensionally in every dimension. So it's smaller front to back, it's shorter lengthwise, it's a little bit thinner, it doesn't have the big squared off bottom on it, yet it still gives you a little bit of an extended length. It still has the open back strap that I like, has some texturing on it. Now these are hard plastic, but look at the design on the inside of these things. They're very well made. The frame cutout is the perfect size. They have pins on the bottom of them and up here that center the two halves together, so when you put them on, they can't walk side to side. These two pieces go in between the frame, and they're just really, really well made. Have that nice Safariland logo on them with the deer. So let's see what these look like on the revolver. Very simple to put on. They snap together really tight, and they have a good screw. The screw doesn't show through on the other side. You put it in from the left side of the frame. And you, oops, let me get my screwdriver. You don't have to tighten these up too much because they're not going to move because all those locking pins on the inside of the grip. So just give it a little snug. Now look at the shape of that firearm. To me, it gives you perfect symmetry. It is the perfect length. It gives you only about 1/4 of an inch beyond the end of the frame. The back strap is still open, so the width this way of the grip is not too thick. It has a nice palm swell on both sides of it. It has your 3-finger groove, so you can get a good full purchase on that. Fills up the nasal up here in the revolver. It is just overall the nicest grip that I have found yet. I look to try to find more of these. I haven't found any more yet. If I find more, I'll probably buy them. Now the texturing on here, it's not very aggressive. It's kind of slippery a little bit, but to be perfectly honest, it's enough that when you grab it and you squeeze it in your hand, the gun's not going anywhere, yet it's still slippery enough that when you're carrying this, your shirt will slip off of this and it will not bind up on the butt of the gun, thus giving away the fact that you're carrying a gun. So for me, right now, this is the nicest grip that I have found. It's the Combat Grip by Safariland. I don't know when these things were made. Long time ago, I'm sure. Based on the green, it was probably sometime in the 70s. I'm hoping that someday I can find more of those. But for me right now, that is the perfect grip. It gives the gun the perfect symmetry. It has the perfect hold inside my hand. It doesn't stick out too much when you're carrying it, and it's slippery so that when you're carrying it, your shirt will run off, it'll slide off of it instead of getting bound up on it. So there are other options out there that I may or may not try. There's a Pacmeyer compact grip, which basically doesn't have this finger groove in the middle, and it still has this bottom nub on it. It's a little bit smoother. So there's those. There's a Pacmeyer presentation grip, which is kind of more like the standard J-frame square grip, but it's made out of rubber and it's a little bit bigger. So they have those as well. And then, there's about 1,000 other brands. There's a G10, which are the ones that are made out of some type of a laminate material. Those I've heard really good things about as well. There's some guys on YouTube that I've watched a bunch of times that have those on their revolvers and they love them. But for me right now, this is the grip that I chose. And once again, this is my 3-inch model 36-1 Smith & Wesson. See if you can see that on the frame right here. Model 36-1, 3-inch Smith & Wesson. It has a pin barrel. This one I looked up the year. I think it was 77 to 78, somewhere in that year range based on the serial number. I got to look it up again, but obviously 1982 they stopped doing the pin barrel. The other 3-inch J-frame I had was a 1981 model, so it was the last year that they had the pin barrel, and that one had much nicer bluing on it and everything else. But the trigger and everything on this, again, we are clear, the trigger and everything on this revolver, it's phenomenal. I mean, the single action trigger on these, it's got to be 3 pounds. The double action is still pretty stiff. It does have the grooved trigger on here, so it's got a bunch of grooves in it. That, depending on where you put your finger on it, can be a bit grippy. But really, when they made these pistols, they made them really to be shot in single action mode. It's kind of opposite the mindset that people have today when it comes to self-defense with revolvers. Back in the old days, they wanted you to aim, so they wanted you to cock that hammer, take really good aim, and then take your time squeezing that trigger. Now they do away with the hammer, they make it all internal, and they make the trigger 9 or 10 pounds instead of 11 pounds, and they make it so that you always use it in double action, because there's the mindset that if you cock the gun, that you're premeditating shooting somebody rather than using it for self-defense. But there you have it. There's my 3-inch J-frame, and this is the quest for the perfect grip for this particular gun. I know I've been very lengthy in this particular discussion, and there are many other types of grips out there. If you guys have any suggestions for a grip that you think I would like, using this as the basis for what I may keep on this particular firearm, shoot me a message. Let me know what ones you're thinking about, grips that you either have or have had that you really liked, and I'll check them out. Maybe at some point I'll see if I can pick some of them up and try those as well. But this is one of those things between gun holsters and gun grips and sights and things like that. It's just an endless amount of accessories that you can buy for different firearms once you get them. So it's kind of, people have made the joke that, firearms are the Barbie doll for men, because you buy one and you accessorize it and you dote on it and you buy accessories and red dots and scopes and all kinds of other stuff. It is true, but you know what? It's keeping me out of trouble. It's keeping me off the streets, and I'm learning a valuable lesson in how to defend myself. I'm teaching my kids about gun safety. I've started to introduce them to seeing my guns around when I'm cleaning them, letting them ask questions and stuff like that, so that they're not scared of them, and they understand that they're not just there for killing people, because a lot of people out there think that handguns are literally just for murdering people, and that's not what they're for whatsoever. Thanks for watching another edition of Cranky Gun Reviews. I hope you enjoyed me sitting there rambling about why I think a revolver has to be symmetrical, and talking about the different types of grips that I've purchased for my J-frame. That is my 3-inch J-frame. I've been waiting quite a while to get one. I say that in all my videos. It's always quite a while. Well, it is. When I find out I want something, I don't always have the means to go out and buy it right away. So like I've said in other videos, I do save up. I sell stuff from my other hobbies, and when I find one that I want, hopefully I have the money to buy it. So I was able to purchase this one. Now I'm going through the process of setting it up just the way I like it. One thing that Buffalo Outdoors says in the end of his videos that really resonates with me If somebody asks you to give up a little bit of your freedom for the greater good of everybody else, you need to remind them that having freedom is the greater good. So with that being said, God bless America. Make sure you support your 2A rights and support your freedom to carry and own a firearm. God bless America, and have a great day.